Good morning, my dear, and a wonderful Tuesday to you. Well, the Bolsonaro supporters are like this, all stirred up, quite a commotion. I was even a bit apprehensive about the situation. I'm not going to lie to you. But after Eduardo Bolsonaro spoke out saying that this could happen and that it will very likely happen, I realized it's all a lie. Because Eduardo Bolsonaro is all bluster, which actually means desperation. This is what the Bolsonaro supporters are posting in all this uproar, right? This post from a United States congressman, what awaits him? A United States congressman argues that Lula should be captured just like Maduro. Then came Chiquinho, Eduardo Bolsonaro's lawyer, and he said that special forces from the United States, a special group is already in Brazil, and that Lula will be arrested by Donald Trump just like Maduro was. Then the Bolsonaro supporters started rejoicing. They became overjoyed, crazy. And Eduardo Bolsonaro couldn't miss the opportunity. He went on his social media and also said that this could happen. I don't believe it anymore. I don't believe it anymore. Lies shamelessly. Pure bravado. Nevertheless, I always tell you these people are dangerous. But China got involved in the story too, right, Andre? Right. But before we talk about China, we need to understand it's not that they're not dangerous enough to do that, they are. But if Trump did that, he would cause international embarrassment, where several powers would go after him. Because if they do that to Lula, who never did anything to him, he's capable of doing it to anyone, and that's unacceptable. Look here. Look what happened here. The plan was to blow up buildings, including the Planalto Palace, and kill Lula. Operation Rede. Rede Interrompida dismantled a neo-Nazi cell that was organizing through Telegram. It executed 8 warrants in 5 states and raises the alarm again about the violent radicalization surrounding the 2026 elections. Extremely serious. There is no other word to describe what happened. The civil police of the federal district, in partnership with the Ministry of Justice and Public Security, has just dismantled a neo-Nazi cell that was planning to blow up the Planalto Palace with President Lula inside, and was also targeting the Supreme Federal Court and the location of the second-round election debate. Do you remember the crocodile? That's right. This group here is the crocodile. The crocodile that was fed by the far right. Where? And they were planning this situation so you can see that they are dangerous. We can't underestimate them. But we also can't live in the shadow of their threats. We have to face them. And in this case, what does facing them mean, Andrea? Lula winning for the 4th time in the first round. Then what will the Bolsonaro supporters do? They'll go crazy because they're already desperate. They'll go crazy. And where will they end up? In jail. And look at what happened here. While the Bolsonaro supporters are saying that Donald Trump is going to arrest Lula, just like he arrested Maduro, it's the same old line that Brazil is going to turn into Venezuela. Do you remember? And Brazil is going to become Venezuela. Where's Venezuela? In fact, the Bolsonaro-aligned deputies and senators became richer during Lula's government. Look at that. But wasn't everyone supposed to become poor? Wasn't it supposed to turn into Venezuela? That's right. Nicolas Ferreira, Caroline de Tony, Carlos Bolsonaro, they all became richer during Lula's government. So where's Venezuela, right? It's the same story with this situation. You sit down, strap your ass to the chair, and wait for Donald Trump to have the courage to arrest. Lula is not just any Lula. He is one of the greatest statesmen, highly respected internationally. That is not going to happen. That's just talk to fool people and to rile up the crowd right now, of course, but we have to keep an eye on them because we can't underestimate this group. Look at what happened here, the desperation of the Bolsonaro supporters. The United States accepts Brazil's request to negotiate the tariff hike. According to the document, the United States received a letter from the Brazilian government requesting the opening of consultations on July 27 based on the WTO dispute settlement rules. Washington stated that it accepts the request and is willing to meet with Brazilian representatives on a date that is convenient for both countries. If Donald Trump were in this situation, he wouldn't even care about Brazil. This is proof of that. But that's not all. Don't be fooled, silly boy and silly girl. Donald Trump is being pressured over there internally. So much so that 25 governors of the United States have taken legal action there against Donald Trump's tariff hike. Against Brazil, which is unjustified and is causing harm to U.S. citizens. Can you imagine? And besides that, there is also pressure within the Congress. In November, there will be elections for representatives and senators. And very likely Donald Trump will lose the majority in the Senate and in the House of Representatives, where he will have to watch his own back. Otherwise, they will take down Donald Trump or remove him. Or cognitive incapacity, insanity, or even through impeachment. So he will have to look after his own house and take care of his own backyard. Otherwise, soon he'll be the one who goes down, not to mention the issue of popular support. He has one of the highest disapproval ratings in the history of the United States. He won't make it, guys. The way things are, he won't even get his successor elected because he can't run anymore unless he stages a coup. And the United States won't let him stage a coup. No, they won't. They won't. They won't. So he'll have to try to choose his successor, but even his successor won't be approved or elected there anymore. He won't. So he'll have to start minding his own business and taking care of his own side. Otherwise, he's screwed. Maybe this already shows he's backing down here. Meanwhile, the Bolsonaro supporters are going crazy thinking that Trump is going to arrest Lula. Get down from there, sheep. Otherwise, you're going to fall and crack yourself open. And what's more, do you know who asked to join these talks along with the Lula government, along with Lula regarding the United States? Guess who? China. The president of China, Xi Jinping. Do you think Brazil is alone? It's not. Lula is also in contact with Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. You know these two, right? Just like the one from Korea over there. I forgot the name of the one from Korea. You know that Trump won't take on those three. Trump won't take them on. Not China, not Korea, not Russia. I wonder why. And another thing, Brazil has to start working. Brazil also needs to have an atomic bomb. It needs to have a nuclear bomb too, right? Because with the way these crazy people are, Brazil has to invest in that. Unfortunately, we have to be prepared because whoever has it, he doesn't mess with them. Whoever doesn't have it wants to steal it, just like they're doing with Venezuela, which is being robbed. So we need to rethink this situation. Let's take a look here at Xi Jinping, China's president, asking to join Brazil. And by the way, if the United States doesn't want it, there are others who do. Get the code. Is the United States not taking Brazil seriously? They don't want it. There are others who do, man. Look at this. Huge tariffs. China asked to join Brazil's action against the United States at the World Trade Organization. In a document sent to the organization, Beijing stated that it has a substantial commercial interest in the dispute and requested authorization to follow the discussions between Brasilia and Washington. These measures affect all exports from China to the United States, subject to specific exceptions. And in particular, the conditions of competition for products originating from China sold in the United States market. Because of the additional tariffs imposed, says the document. It's not just Lula who is taking a stand against Donald Trump over these abuses. It's not just Lula, China and other countries are too. So Donald Trump is under pressure, both internally and externally. And he's going to get in trouble, but he just won't face it. He confronts those he knows don't have atomic bombs. That's who he confronts. He wants to act like a clown, make jokes, especially with the support of the traitors to the country, like Flavio Bolsonaro, Eduardo Bolsonaro, right? And all those people who don't care about Brazil's well-being. For them, what matters is bringing Lula down. It doesn't matter if there's a bomb, if there's a kidnapping, if there's a civil war. It doesn't matter. Did they bring Lula down? Then that's fine. For us, that's fine. Why do they do that? Because they know they can't win the elections. They can't win elections against Lula, guys. And I don't believe in Donald Trump's direct interference in the election either. He'll try to scratch around like a chicken. You know how a chicken keeps scratching around? He'll try to keep scratching around, just like he's already doing, trying to hire influencers, journalists, and this whole situation, social media and all that, being tougher on us, right? You know very well this and that. And scratching around like a desperate chicken. You understand? But he won't interfere directly because the world is watching him. And he can't do whatever he wants. And there are some very powerful people keeping an eye on this. Among them are China and Russia and North Korea too. The guy from North Korea has already said he's eager to drop a bomb on the United States. Do you realize the situation? You understand? Meanwhile, Flavio Bolsonaro is just desperately losing support. It's already like this, out of control. He's trying to find another running mate, right, Misheka? And it looks like he won't succeed. And Alfredo Gaspar's move will really backfire, and Lula is getting even more support. While you're at it, go ahead and hit the like button. Wake up, Brazil. Hey, hey, hey. Stop being so empty-headed, and let's make Lula a 4-time winner right here. Hugo Mata announces support for Lula's re-election. Better for the country. The Republicans decided to stay neutral, the party of the Speaker of the House. It derailed Flavio Bolsonaro's campaign plans. Hugo Mota is from the Republican Party. It's President Marcos Pereira's party. They say he's from the Universal Church. I don't know. Anyway, because there are a lot of religious people in that party. Eduardo Bolsonaro thought that this party would support him. But in the end, the party declared neutrality. What does that mean, Andrea? That means the party won't take sides. Not with Flavio, not with Lula. And that everyone will be able to support whoever they want. And Hugo Mota, Flavio Bolsonaro was thinking he would have Hugo Mota's support. But Hugo Mota just came out publicly and said he will support Lula. Why? Because it's the best for Brazil. Flavio is not prepared. He doesn't have what it takes to be president. Besides, Flavio has never been an administrator. He's never run a city. He's never governed a state. Nothing. Flavio has never been anything. Except for 16 years as a state representative, he never managed to approve anything good for anyone. And now with 8 years as a senator, then you ask me, Andre, what good has he done? Good question. If you know, let me know. What good thing did Flavio Bolsonaro manage to get approved? I will never forget the effort and the fight he put in to try to get the beach privatization amendment approved, the constitutional amendment for the privatization of the beaches. I remember that very well. because that was what he fought hardest for and was most dedicated to. The rest, I don't remember anything good. If you remember, please post it here. Go ahead. No one is going to censor you, no. If you know of something good Flavio has done, I want to know because I don't know of any. Now Lula, oh my God. There are a lot of things Lula has done, especially for the workers and for the most vulnerable people. The most recent one, income tax exemption for those who earn up to 5,000 reais. Do you remember it was just recently where Lula had to hold the devil by the horns to get the National Congress to start processing it? Different from the end of the 6-on, 1-off work schedule that Lula tried to approve and the National Congress sabotaged, not the Chamber of Deputies, let's be fair. The Chamber of Deputies went there and approved the end of the 6-on, 1-off work schedule. For every 5 days worked, you would be entitled to 2 days off. Then it went to the Senate. Then Davi Alcolumbre switched sides. And the senators handed Lula a defeat. In the following way, he didn't put it up for discussion. It's still stuck under Senator Davi Alcolumbre's control until now. But Lula proposed it. Lula went for it. Lula proposed the Public Security Constitutional Amendment, and they held it back. They're holding it back too. Yeah. Now, obviously, we know there's political maneuvering behind this. What does Davi Alcolumbre want? He wants Lula's support for his re-election next year as president of the Senate. If Lula guarantees support for his re-election as president of the Senate, soon he will declare his support for Lula. That's what he wants. They're not doing anything for free. Did you understand? Now, don't fool yourself either. If Flavio Bolsonaro were doing very well, they would support Flavio to bring down Lula. Yeah, because they're right-wingers who come from the far right. They can stomach Lula. Andre, they're from the Centrão. Okay, they go with whatever is convenient. When it's convenient, Centrão. When it's not convenient, right-wing. When it's convenient, far right. Do you understand? And they would love to take power. And they would love to overthrow Lula. It's just that they won't be on Flavio Bolsonaro's side. Given what's out there and the situations that have come to light, and the situation that has already come to light of Flavio's direct involvement demanding money from Daniel Vocaro. Flavio Bolsonaro was demanding millions of reais from Daniel Vocaro. And suddenly we find out, because nobody knew, that the movie had already received 61 million from Daniel Vocaro. And the guy hid everything thinking no one would find out. But the question is, what else did he hide? And what will be revealed before the election? I've already told you, many of those who aren't supporting Flavio, because think about it with me. No party allied with Flavio Bolsonaro. Do you know what none means? None. Flavio Bolsonaro is having to put together a single party ticket. He says his running mate is Alfredo Gaspar from the PL, a federal deputy, which to me is shooting himself in the foot. And in my opinion, he only filled the spot because he had to say something, but who he's really trying to put in his place is Michel. I'm sure of it. That's my opinion. He couldn't get any party to support him. Why, Andrea? Because there's a lot of baggage. And the politicians know that he has a lot of baggage and that he's not clean and that things will come to light. And many are supporting Lula because they have their own interests too. From the right, from the center, it's because they have their own interests. So let's not be naive either, okay? thinking that Hugo Mota came to his senses, woke up. No, he didn't wake up. He's defending his own interests. You can be sure of that. But anyway, didn't he support Flavio? It's already wonderful. It's already great because that implicitly means support for Lula. Did you get the message? Get the message and put Lula, four-time winner. Hey, you can cry, you cattle. It's okay, really. Cry, cry, cry. The request was to, what is this here, guys, for God's sake? The request was submitted by the Chinese delegation, okay? Regarding China. The request was submitted by the Chinese delegation on August 6th and refers to the process initiated by Brazil against the United States. According to Beijing, measures adopted by the U.S. government following an investigation into forced labor also affect products of Chinese origin, marketed in the United States. According to the rules of the World Trade Organization, a third country may request to participate in consultations when it demonstrates a substantial commercial interest in the dispute. However, the entry must be accepted by the countries directly involved in the process, in this case, Brazil and the United States. Certainly, Brazil will say, welcome. Let's debate, let's talk, and they'll show Donald Trump's abuses, that he is. Donald Trump is causing harm even to his own people, even to Americans. Let's see what happens. Meanwhile, Donald Trump shows what a fool he is. Trump defies science and signs the order that reduces recommended vaccines for children. Executive order. President Donald Trump signed an executive order this Monday to modify the federal recommendations for childhood vaccination in the United States, including the reduction of the set of recommended immunizations and changes in the way some vaccines are administered. Less immunization, more measles. One of the most controversial measures is the recommendation to separate the MMR vaccine, which protects against measles, mumps, and rubella, into individual doses and administered during separate appointments. The decision comes precisely at a time when the United States are facing a measles outbreak. Public health experts warn that increasing the interval between immunizations could leave children unprotected for a longer period against diseases that could be prevented by vaccines. Return of preventable diseases. Childhood vaccination is considered one of the main tools for preventing serious diseases. The debate, therefore, goes beyond a political decision. Reducing coverage or delaying doses can create room for the return and spread of preventable diseases. Donald Trump. He is more of the same, but nowhere near what Bolsonaro was. Irresponsible, cruel, mocking. And we remember very well the result of that, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic with Bolsonaro embracing denialism. Now, Donald Trump, he's doing this to play to the crowd, to appeal to radicalized people, to the extremists in the United States. And he's going to lose even more support with this situation. There's a measles outbreak in the United States. Instead of prioritizing expanding measles vaccination, he reduced measles vaccination even further. And of course, Donald Trump's hanger-on, Donald Trump's bootlicker, Eduardo Bolsonaro, came out in public positioning himself as anti-vaccine. Not without reason, Nicolas Ferreira, in the same way here in Brazil, positioning himself as kind of anti-vaccine and saying that Bolsonaro was right during the pandemic. Let me ask you something. What caused the pandemic to recede? Because of vaccination. You'd have to be crazy not to have noticed that. The 3,000 deaths per day, 5,000 deaths per day, 7,000 deaths per day, it went down after there was widespread vaccination, right? Or am I crazy? No, I'm not. The irresponsible ones, the fascists, are these people who are spreading this anti-vaccine nonsense again. This is absurd, guys. And I want to share a personal testimony with you. When I was a child, we used to play a lot in the street, we played a lot in the street and all that. And in my childhood, there were always people with physical disabilities, kids in wheelchairs and all, playing with us. There were always some. And as a child, I didn't really understand that very well. But anyway, so today I understand what that was. Because that situation marked me as a child. Because it was something new, I didn't understand it and I hadn't seen it before. So playing in the street, I started seeing it all the time. It was always there. Today I know what that was. Today I know how to connect the dots. Do you know what that was? Those kids who used to play with us on the street back then and who had paralysis, they were children of religious people. The religious people didn't take their children to get vaccinated, especially for polio, which prevents infantile paralysis. Many religious people at that time had this mindset, no, God will take care of it. No, I don't know what this is. I don't know. There was this kind of denialist attitude. And it's no coincidence that all those children who played with me there, who had it, were children of religious people because they didn't take them to get vaccinated. So nowadays, you hardly see it. You hardly see that anymore. Why? Because now there's mass vaccination. But if Bolsonaro's supporters and deniers have their way, it will come back. It will come back. Because vaccines save, they heal. Vaccines prevent very serious diseases. And according to them, no, vaccines are dangerous. You have to be really shameless to do something like that, right, Nicholas? Not even Eduardo Bolsonaro. Seriously, people, for God's sake. Wake up, regardless of your political stance, guys. This is science. And God gave people the ability to think and study precisely so they can solve situations that God is not going to come down here to solve. God solves things through us. That's why he gave us intelligence, ability, science, vaccines, doctors. That's what it's for. No, that's not it. These people want to demonize everything, but actually that's just a smokescreen. Actually, that's to feed and stir up hatred and stupidity. The madness of some groups who are easily used, manipulated, provoked, and when no longer useful, discarded, just like January 8th. That's the situation. But this is very serious because you're playing with lives, especially those of children and teenagers. This is unacceptable. For me, that's the cruelest part of the far right. Because the child has no way to defend themselves. And if the father doesn't take them to get vaccinated, who is going to take them? So this is inhumane. This is cruel. Let me ask you this. Ask whether Nicholas took his daughter to get vaccinated. I ask you, ask if Eduardo Bolsonaro's daughters didn't get all the vaccines. Possible and imaginable. Of course she did, guys. Obviously she did. But they need to hook you by exploiting your stupidity based on your... Good Lord, what a horrible thing. And Brazilian evangelicals meet with United States lawmakers to warn about interference in the elections. In the letter, the progressive group created in 2016 highlights the concern about the United States' attempt to interfere in Brazil's presidential elections. And it points to reports that highlight the Donald Trump administration's plan to send officials to Brasilia to question the integrity of the Brazilian electoral system. The signatories of the letter also highlight that although some Brazilian evangelical leaders publicly support Senator Flavio Bolsonaro, they do not represent the entirety of the Brazilian evangelical community, which is diverse in political opinions. Yeah, that's something that needs to be done. A group of evangelicals went to the United States to talk with the members of the United States Congress. Does it have to be done, Andre? Yes, it does. To show that it's not just the Bolsonaro supporters who get together, who go there to talk, to flatter, to put nonsense into the minds of the representatives and senators and Donald Trump. No. Because their ideas are weak. Representatives have to go, senators have to go, and the evangelicals also have to go and say, look, they're lying. That's not it. Brazil doesn't want interference from anyone. Brazil wants the electoral system. Whoever wins, wins. If Flavio wins, God forbid, in the name of Jesus, get out. Devil Lula in the first round. If he wins, he won. Lula will pass the sash to him. And everything's fine, everything's all right. So you have to respect the election results. That's it. And stop with all this craziness. You really have to go. You have to go there, talk, explain things, speak up. Because otherwise, it's just the shouting of the irresponsible ones, the far-right fascists over there, clinging to Donald Trump's weak ideas. In fact, Lula said that he will very likely meet with Trump again. He's going to see Trump again. And I want him to go. Andre, it could be a trap, my dear. Trump. Does he want a third world war? What does he want? No. He thinks we're bootlickers, but we're not. The bootlickers are Eduardo Bolsonaro and Flavio Bolsonaro, traitors to the country. Lula is not. Lula is a statesman. And Lula faces the situation as such in defense of our sovereignty. And this must be made very clear to Brazilian society. And he won't back down, no. And if he has to go, he will. And do what needs to be done. Unlike the cowards, the weaklings from the Bolsonaro clan who are all talk and nothing else. Meanwhile, I'd say they deserve it. Look what I'm going to show you here. They deserve it. Hey, hey. Go ahead and suck up. Suck up. Go on, go, right? That's what happens when you suck up. Look here. Do you think you're very smart? Unrequited love. Cleitinho supports Flavio Bolsonaro. But the PL fields a rival against him in Minas Gerais. PL states that it will not give up Roscoe and will have a separate platform in the Minas Gerais election. Huh? But I don't understand anything anymore. Is Cleitinho going to run for governor? Huh? He said he didn't want to. Then later he said he did. The president of the PR said he wouldn't. And suddenly now they say he's going to run for governor of Minas Gerais. He always sucked up to the Bolsonaro supporters. Bebe. He thought he would have Flavio's support because he's supporting Flavio. And Flavio is running a candidate against him. Oh my God, do you know what I think? That's not nearly enough, loser. That's not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. Yeah, go suck up some more. That's still not nearly enough. Keep sucking up, Cleitinho. Keep licking Bolsonaro supporters' boots, Cleitinho. Yeah, that's still not nearly enough. And this guy's going to take votes away from you because he's from the same group as you, right? Oh, hey, Cleitinho's face. I think it's just too good. Now, the question that remains. Cleitinho, are you going to keep supporting Flavio? Didn't you learn? Did you learn? The future will tell if Cleitinho learned or didn't learn, because there are people who, thank you, Do you remember Antonio Garotinho? Antonio Garotinho is all full of himself on social media, participating in podcasts, and so on and so forth. That he's going to run for office. He went there, registered his candidacy, and so on and so forth. And the judiciary cut his tail off. No, not his tail, no. The tail is long. Then the judiciary said, no, you are ineligible. I'm thinking of Deltan Dallanyol here. You are ineligible. How can you want to be a candidate if you are ineligible? Look at this mess. Wow, that's it. Ineligible. The court orders Garotinho to comply with a ruling that should keep him out of the elections. The judge ordered the suspension of the former governor's political rights for 8 years after Brazil's Supreme Court finished reviewing the defense's appeals. It's up to the Superior Electoral Court to declare ineligibility. Will the court declare it or let it go? Because honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. Let me put this thing here, guys, so I don't forget. The banner is missing here. Look, this is missing here. Look, look, look. Leave a like and share the live stream. It's written down here. So what happens? Brazil's Superior Electoral Court often takes a long time to make a decision. Actually, it's not even about making a decision. It's about confirming a decision that's already been made. Then, in that time frame when it takes a while to make the decision, the guy goes there, becomes a candidate, and if you're not careful, he might even win. Then soon he has parliamentary immunity. Then it gets harder to reach him. Then the Superior Electoral Court is left twiddling its thumbs and doesn't make a decision in time. Just like Rui Barbosa used to say, right? Delayed justice is actually a serious injustice. And I noticed that at the Superior Electoral Court on many occasions. Do you want an example? I'll give you an example so we don't forget. Claudio Castro, former governor of Rio de Janeiro. Claudio Castro, in the 2022 election, bought votes. Yes, he hired more than 7,000 people who served as campaign workers. And this case was before the Superior Electoral Court. He took office as governor of Rio de Janeiro and did all the terrible things he did there. The Superior Electoral Court didn't have the courage to judge him and revoke his mandate. They only revoked his mandate now, at the beginning of this year when his mandate was already ending. What does that mean, guys? That it's worth it. To steal? Buying off campaign workers, buying votes, it's worth it. If you win, it's worth it. The justice system is so slow that you spend a whole term, your entire term. At the end of your term, that's when you get removed from office. Then there's no point removing you anymore, right? Isn't that true? So here's the thing. Either Brazil's Superior Electoral Court gets its act together, or else it's just nonsense. And when I see Nunes Marques as president and Andre Mendonça as vice president, notably from a Bolsonarist perspective, they are rejoicing. They are very happy. Thank you. Thank you. For example, Andre Mendonça has already ruled in a case saying that Lindenberg had to take down a post because he said it wasn't true. Where he said that Flavio was connected to the militia, Andre Mendonça went there and said, this is an abuse of freedom of expression, take down the post. When Lindenberg was told to do it, he went and took it down. Then Flavio Bolsonaro posted, using artificial intelligence, a video saying that Lula was connected to the PCC. Then it got to Andre Mendonça. Andre Mendonça said no. He said it's freedom of expression. And that if it was taken down, it would be censorship. So we have to keep an eye out, guys, because and another thing I noticed too, on several social networks, they're not delivering situations like this one here. Look, that I'm talking to you about from the progressive side. They're not pushing it out. And when it's from the right, from the far right, that's all that shows up. That's all that shows up. That's why I tell you, Central, put the WhatsApp link here for me. Join the WhatsApp group. If you're not able to join, let me know and I'll open another one. Because now it's even being restricted there too. I don't know. Do you understand? We need to stay connected. Because there I send it to you. Whenever there's something new, I send it to you. Because many times, if you wait for YouTube to show it to you, it won't. So there are several movements that keep showing up and we are being sabotaged. And we know that the big techs, like it or not, support Donald Trump. And Donald Trump doesn't want Lula. Donald Trump wants the puppet, the lackey of Flavio. Bolsonaro, isn't that right? Yes, that's why I smashed the like button. Share the live stream and leave your comment. Let's come together even more for Lula's fourth win. Did you understand? Wonderful. My dears, 12, 12, and 12:30, no, 13 and 1:30 p.m. Since my lives were blocked, I can't do live streams anymore. Until when, Andrea? Until YouTube unblocks me. Since I can't do live streams, I just recorded one right now. I got up, did it, and I'm already sending it to you. The times here will now be 9:30 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 5:30 p.m. Did you get it, my dears? If it doesn't work one way, we'll do it another way. They won't silence us. Did you get the code? Wonderful. Smash that like button, like, comment, and share. Kisses. Thank you so much. 1:30 p.m.